It's a real thing, you know.
OG, big fish. We the ones that you wanna get with. Good evening, good people. Good evening, good people. Hold up. Little ting, we pursue her. See a nice little, yeah. Run it back. For some reason, I gotta reload it just to see how many people here. We the ones that you wanna get with. Took a couple L's, rung a couple bells. Real ones, too legit for coin telling. Straight shooters, all troopers. Me and the guys ain't never been losers. See a nice little thing, we pursue her. See a nice little, yeah. I'm moving with a purpose, bigger than a service. You can never, even if you rehearse this. We own it, yeah, hurts it. Big difference, that's worth less, yes. All we do is impress. Put the work in, never mind all the stress. If you don't mind, Mark, what's good, baby? OG 101, it was all in the prep. Yeah, we some legends in the game. What's the deal, Mark? How you gonna change? Yeah, everyone wanna range, but the value that you bring, little boy, smart change. I'm just saying, that's life, man. You control your destiny simply with your mind frame. You go hard from the gate. Every day, clean slate. Hey, this is when I put my and then put the little Afro beat swang on it. Ones that you wanna get with. Took a couple L's, rung a couple bells. Real ones, too legit for coin telling. Welcome to the show. Please make sure that you like as you join. Never been losers. Maybe share with a group chat, share with a friend. But we are happy to have you here. Happy to be here with y'all. OG, big fish. OG. That's my favorite part. All right, let's do this. I'm going to turn off the Wi-Fi in the beginning right now. So hopefully that means we are just connected through... We are just connected through the, what is it called? The LAN. All right, we got a full show for y'all today. Hopefully it won't be too long, man. I'm trying to keep it an hour and 15. You know, we'll see how that goes. You know, I say that all the time. It doesn't typically happen, but I planned accordingly. So hopefully we can get through a lot, be intentional with things. Hopefully I won't go off on too many tangents, but that's a big hopeful. I wouldn't bet my money on it, but let's see how it goes. So what are we going to talk about today, man? It seems like we need to have its own segment dedicated just to, quote, I guess Trump wasn't the H word. It's like, normally I would wait. It's 4 minutes into, normally they say within the first 5 minutes, wait a little bit before you start cursing or start throwing out. We're 4 minutes and 40 seconds in. It is what it is. So I guess Trump wasn't a fascist, and I guess he wasn't hit with a LER at the end. Yeah, I guess he wasn't, because we got a bunch of different things apparently, and we're a little bit late to the game on this one with the Morning Joe crew. Joe and Mika going down and visiting Trump in Mar-a-Lago. We got to at least talk about it. Got to at least say something about it. You may be surprised as far as what I'm thinking on it, and I may be surprised, or, you know, I'm looking forward to hearing you guys' input. But then Charles Barkley, I think Charles Barkley may have had the best advice that I've heard since Kamala lost the election, specifically for Democrats right now. AOC, we got to talk about AOC. AOC, first and foremost, I didn't know that she has like over 20 million followers combined on Instagram and Twitter, or Instagram and X. Kind of wild. Kind of makes me look at myself and just say, what am I doing? But maybe because I'm not willing to do what AOC does. And she goes from bringing she apparently just took her pronouns down after, I don't know, a year or so ago. Somebody called her out on it, or maybe it was even longer than that, and she acted as if she didn't even know that they must have fell off. But we'll take a look at that. We got to talk about Bronny James. I haven't really said anything about what's going on with Bronny and Bron. One, because to be just direct with y'all, I think there's just a whole bunch of other stuff that was a lot more serious to talk about. And I'm a Bronny fan, but there are some things with that situation that I want to talk about, because I think that the lessons that we learn from observing that situation can maybe help us out in our own lives and as far as how it impacts the culture that we're living in right now. We got to talk about Denzel. This may be like when I think about entertainers and actors, ball players, whatever they are, it's very hard for me to get disappointed. Very hard for me to become disappointed in a entertainer. Why? Because I don't expect much from them. I just don't expect much from them. So me getting disappointed in an entertainer, it's kind of like, eh. However, I am super disappointed in Denzel Washington. Like to the point where, he's playing in Gladiator 2. Gladiator is one of my favorite movies, but I almost thought about, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to see it when it comes out. Now that may be a little bit petty, but just standing on principles, it's just like, what's going on here? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And what Denzel decided to announce that he did, even though it's not even in the movie, whatever. And then we're going to actually take a look back at another clip that I actually love from Denzel. It was when he was getting interviewed before, or I guess for the grand opening of his movie Fences. He gave a very powerful answer to a question that I just want to compare and contrast, him going from this, going to that, we'll talk about it. Then we got to talk about this church. I'm not going to say what church it is, but I got the word that there's a church in Montclair, New Jersey. I'm not going to say what church it is, but we got to talk about it for their Men's Day. I got to tell y'all who they're deciding to bring as the guest speaker or as the speaker and what the topic of discussion is going to be for their Men's Day. Says a lot about where we are. And in my opinion, says a lot about why churches are losing a lot of their memberships and the churches that are growing, the tactics that they're using to grow. But in my opinion, it just says a lot why men, especially strong men, maybe have been for a while turned off by the church, but now they're losing. And it's significant. Then we got to talk about a little bit about this. I just want to refresh everybody's mind when it comes to RFK Jr. I keep seeing people talking about RFK Jr. That may be the one thing that bothers me. Like, I don't care if people talk about Trump. I don't care if people talk about any of these politicians. But when it comes to RFK Jr., there is a spot in my heart where I'm just like, damn, this is the dude that's fighting for us, and everybody's talking about him. They're throwing all these things on his name, and in my opinion, trying to tarnish his names, and by tarnishing his name, I think that it's going to allow us to not soak in the knowledge that he's giving and to not support him in something that he's actually fighting for us. So I want to talk about that. Pierce Morgan had, remember that guy, White Guys for Kamala, when Oprah Winfrey had her town hall? Yeah, we may visit that one. And then we got a final word. We're getting back to started reading again. I fell off reading. I started reading again. Got a good word from Uncle Abraham Lincoln, from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. All right, so let's get into it. That was a long intro. So let's get into, hold on. My fault, Mark. I had your caption up there. We already queued up. We're already good to go. All right, so let me share the screen with y'all. Take a look at Morning Joe. So Morning Joe, if you're not familiar, so this is Joe and his wife, I believe, Mika, and they have been tarnishing Donald Trump's name, I want to say, for the last 7 years. Now, they used to be Republicans. But then I don't know what happened. Who knows? But they ended up moving to the Democratic side, trashing Trump for the last 7-8 years. And then all of a sudden it comes out that, oh, well, we went and visited him in Mar-a-Lago. And it's just like a lot of thoughts on it. But let's get into it. You guys will give me your thoughts as well. I'll try to keep up with the chat as much as I possibly can. And damn, Mark is already snowed in. Winter is coming. And before we even start, so Mark said Trump is not H, but Joe is a warmonger or is the face of them. He might have started a world war, and Russia never goes away quietly. Oh, I didn't even mention. Yeah, I feel like that's the last video that I just took a look at, where we're going to actually finish up talking about what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. like what is really going on. And all of this is just that should actually be under the category, because I told y'all we got this new category that we're starting off with. I guess Trump wasn't Hitler. That's the name of the category. I should put it on the bottom of the screen, but maybe next time I will. I guess Trump wasn't Hitler. I think we're having an awakening right now. But let's get into this video, and I would love to hear y'all thoughts. So keep the chat buzzing, and I'll try to read as many comments as I can.
Well, how the worm turns. Morning Joe's Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski took a trip to Florida on Friday. You guessed it, they went to kiss the ring at Mar-a-Lago. And they told their audiences this morning the duo had a personal sit-down with Donald Trump. Let's watch.
Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
It's been 7 years since the two MSNBC.
First and foremost, hold up. Y'all don't just get to do this. Now, I actually don't have a problem. I do not have a problem at all with Joe and Mika going to visit Trump. I don't have a problem. I don't think that we need to be ops. I don't think we need to be at war. I don't think it needs to be they lost, I'm not speaking to them for the next 4 years. I don't think it needs to be that. However, I also don't think it needs to be y'all calling him Hitler, y'all calling him a fascist, y'all calling him a threat to democracy, leading the Nazis, all these different things. I don't think that it needs to be that in the beginning. And if you're going to be that in the beginning, then it's very hard for me now to just see you. I mean, he's not even back in office. I mean, the election was 2 weeks ago. And already you went from not speaking to him for 7, 8 years, except after Joe called him, after he got shot in the ear, to now going down there and kissing the ring, just like Robbie said. To me, it just shows opportunist. Like, that's what it just screams. It screams desperate. It screams my ratings are dropping. It screams this liberal thing is not working for us over here. It screams we may be let go soon, and our only home may be the Republican, or maybe a Republican network. Or because anybody could just see that all of the progressive liberal stations, it's not landing. People are not watching that content anymore. People would rather go on YouTube. Fox, they're going to have their base. People are going to go on Fox. But because the liberals on CNN and on MSNBC have been spewing this, just like they accuse Trump of saying all this hyperbole stuff, that's what they do. And they fell in love with this culture, this woke culture that pushes something that the majority, 99% of your own party doesn't even agree with. Those are the things that you're pushing, and they realize that they back themselves into a corner and they need Trump to get them out. Let's keep going.
BBC anchor spoke to the president-elect, although Joe Scarborough did reach out after the first assassination attempt.
But let me ask y'all this. Are y'all okay with them meeting? And I didn't even finish making the point that I was going to make. It should not have been all the Hitler crazy rhetoric. And then, of course, you go meet with the opposition. Why wouldn't you go sit down with them? But it's just when it becomes so toxic. And maybe this is a maturity mindset with me, because I can remember going back to when Trump, this is when I hated Trump, when Trump was first started to run. And I remember he invited Steve Harvey and I think it was, who was it? Joe Brown? No, not Joe. Definitely wasn't Judge Joe Brown. My apologies for that, Judge Joe Brown. I think it was Steve Harvey and who's the Jim Brown. I'm about to say who's the football player, and Jim Brown. And I'm sitting here like, yo, Steve Harvey, he's cooning for even going to meet with him. I do think that Steve Harvey was cooning. However, and not for meeting with him, but for you going to meet with him. Why are you bringing a comedian and a football player? Like, maybe Steve Harvey should have brought maybe somebody that was a little bit more qualified to have a real conversation with Trump, to understand what he was looking to do with whatever community. It doesn't have to necessarily just be with the black community. It doesn't need just black people talking about the black community, but to discuss things. Steve Harvey is not the guy. Steve Harvey's not the guy. He should use his celebrity influence to bring somebody like a Tom Sowell to actually understand what Trump's plans are, and whether or not Steve Harvey and whoever he brings can actually add something to it. Bring Ice Cube. Like, leave those other guys at home, in my opinion.
This summer against Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. So, is this hypocrisy? Let's listen.
For those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote.
I got a question for y'all. Thanksgiving is next week, right? I guarantee you there's going to be a whole lot of fights at Thanksgiving just based on politics. And this is why we all have to realize, and I can't wait to get to the end of the show where we're going to get some advice from Uncle Abe, Abraham Lincoln, on this exact thing. However, Thanksgiving, there's going to be a lot of fights over who voted for Donald Trump, who voted for Kamala, who didn't vote, and whatever else. How are we fighting with our family, fighting with our friends, caring more about politicians? How are we caring more than the people that got us riled up, that boosted us? It's like you know, you see somebody amping up a fight. They're amping up a fight for y'all just so they can sit back and enjoy it. Meanwhile, they're not even really, it's not even that serious for the people that are making it, for making you feel like it's serious. They're making you mad, and they're not even really mad. People are furious right now if you tell them that you voted for Trump. But they're going down there to just go hang out with him. Like, it's nothing. Yeah, we talked. It's all good. They've been talking about Trump in the worst ways for the last 7-8 years. And I think Mark wrote it. Maybe Trump's just, keeping his enemies close. I agree. I'm not even upset with Trump. However, they've been talking about this man terribly for the last 8 years. Got a lot of people, Democrats and liberals, that watch Morning Joe looking at Trump like he's the worst person in the world. The worst person in the world, right? Hitlerish or Hitler. And now they just go sit down with him. But we can't sit down with our cousins. We can't sit down with our family. We can't sit down with our friends and just say, oh, yeah, we disagree on this issue, but it's all good. We could let's have a beverage. We got duped. And I hope that a lot of Democrats and liberals are feeling like you got duped. Not so people that did not vote Democrat can put it in your face and say, I told you so, but so you can grow. And so you can start to see that these people that tried to convince you something, they sold you on something that wasn't real. They sold you on something that they didn't even believe in. They were the used car salesman that told you that the car is good. It's got its Carfax. It's all good. And it didn't. They sold you saying that this Ford is the best car. Meanwhile, they're riding around in a Toyota. That's what happened. Let's keep going.
Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
Conservatives are having a field day with this. Buck Sexton tweets, Trump's victory is so complete. Morning Joe is fully surrendered. And then, some people on the left are making fun of them too. My friend Ryan Grimm, who used to co-host the show. Let me find his tweet. He tweeted, I'm not going to be able to find it so quickly. Calling them basically Russian, playing into the Russians.
Tim Waltz's daughter went days without showering and brushing her teeth and doing her skincare routine. Morning Joe, they just went and had some drinks, had some lunch with Trump. There's a difference. And I don't even know which is worse. I'll be totally honest. The people that really say that Trump is Hitler and he's the threat to democracy, if you really believe that and you're still standing on it right now, I think that you are wrong. I think that you're wrong. Let me be very clear. But there's something about it that makes me respect you guys a lot more than the people that were selling us, trying to sell us on it, saying that Trump is all these things. And then as soon as he wins, it's like, oh, nah, we're good. You know, it's just a little political sparring. Like, what? No. You breaking up families. Now, shame on the families, because the families shouldn't be dumb enough to allow politicians to impact their relationships with each other. But you know that the mob is fickle. That's how it goes. That's exactly how it goes. So how do y'all feel about it? How do y'all feel about it? It feels good being on this side because I feel like people are kind of waking up to it. So maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is what people need. And once again, I want to make it very clear. I have no issue with what they did if they weren't saying all the things for 7-8 years about Trump that they were saying.
The Never Trump operatives have actually been Republicans all along, you know, making fun of that kind of conspiratorial thinking. I tweeted, I thought it was pretty funny. I tweeted the Avengers gif where Captain America leans into the Hydra people and says, "Hail Hydra," pretending to be one of them. But is this actually hypocritical? I don't know. I've been unrelentingly critical of the Biden administration. If Biden invited me to meet with him, I would absolutely meet with him.
I mean, I think it is hypocritical. I know I'm saying
good.
It's like I can't believe I have to defend this or try to defend.
Oh, you don't have to, right?
No,
you
I mean, it's hypocritical. It's only hypocritical based on the things that they were saying leading up to it. It just is what it is. Now, I still think that it was a smart move by them. I think that they are probably doing what other people are going to be forced to do. They are very smart. See, and that's the thing. People, I think we need this is the problem with looking at a lot of these political experts and analysts as if they know everything. Morning Joe, in my opinion, and Mika, they did what was best for their pockets. That's it. Just like they thought that selling you on a lie was best for their pockets. So they're going to look out for themselves. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next. So we got Charles Barkley. So Charles Barkley, like I said, may have given us the best advice that I've seen on here so far. Let me get to Charles Barkley because I don't know. I think every Democrat, liberal needs to hear this, especially a lot of these people that are still making all these noise, saying, blaming Trump, blaming people being misogynist, blaming people being racist, all these things. Charles Barkley, who voted and supported Kamala Harris against Trump, in my opinion, he had the best outlook on it that I've seen so far. All right, let's take a look at what Chuck had to say.
He's the president of the United States, and I wish him nothing but the best. But we lost. And I just want to say this to the Democrats, which I'm an independent who voted Democratic. Do me this favor. Shut the up. When you win, you get to say what you want to. When you lose, you need to shut the hell up.
Charles Barkley breaking it down.
Charles Barkley made it very clear. Why are people still talking as if they won? In my opinion, when you take a loss, you shouldn't be out there in the spotlight. You should be in the back looking at film, figuring out how did we get in this position? How did we lose these voters? How did we have such a disconnect with the voters? And you see people like Sunny Hostin on The View who just can't say anything outside of her just little racism, misogyny, little box that she lives in, because that's how she sees the world. How people see the world is that it says a lot about how they're able to kind of work through different problems, how they're able to self-analyze, look internally, all these things. And Sunny, and it's not surprising that Sunny would feel that way, because how do we make women feel, especially Black women? I know Sunny, I don't know what Sunny is, but she claims to be a Black woman. You know, we'll throw that out there for anybody if it fits our narrative, Kamala Harris. So when you tell people that they're perfect and they can do no wrong, and that's when you get the Baltimore mayor up here saying that Kamala Harris's campaign was perfect, all these different people saying these things, y'all should do what Charles Barkley said. Your opinion is not needed right now. Your opinion's not needed. Let Trump do his thing. Let the supporters of Trump do their thing, and stop crying. Stop crying. Stop trying to make excuses. Stop trying to move the goalpost. Sit back, listen to what Chuck said, and analyze exactly the reasons why you lost. Go talk to your voters. Go talk to your voters and ask them why they didn't support you the way that they supported Hillary, or the way that they supported Biden, or the way that they supported Barack. Go talk to your voters and see, why are they leaving the Democratic Party? Why are they no longer the party of democracy? Why do they have an issue? What are the issues that they have? This is just what I would do. This is what I would do. But I see everything from a sports perspective, so maybe that's why I align with how, Charles Barkley responded and how he views the situation. But y'all tell me how y'all see it. I just feel like all these people should do. Matter of fact, they should do exactly what the viewers are telling them to do. Joy Reid, I believe her viewership declined 54% after after the election. Now, a lot of that may have just been because, the election was over. So okay, let's say we give 20% to that. But what about the other 34? What about the other 34? And the networks may not care. And matter of fact, this is funny. I'm making an excuse when in all actuality, the networks are probably saying, like, it should have grown. It should have just kept going, or at least, been steady, because there's a lot to talk about after Trump won. The fact that nobody's coming to your show after the election shows that the viewers do not want to hear from you. They're telling you exactly what you should do. Pipe down. Process the loss. Circle back another time. That's what I would do. But, neither here nor there. That's just me. All right, let's hold on. Let's move on. Well, we got the next video. The next video. All right, so this is a two-part video. So this goes to talk about the culture. We always talk about the culture, how the Democrats are pushing this woke liberalism, LGBTQ, let boys play sports with the girls. At first, it was pushing feminism. Then they're pushing boys to be able to beat the girls, and it's all over the place. It's all over the place. But I want to highlight, hold on. Let me highlight these two videos with AOC. So the first one I want to show y'all is AOC, and I believe this, I don't know how long this video was ago, but this was some time ago where AOC got called out for not having her pronouns on her page. So let's take a look at this one, and then I'm going to show you what AOC just recently decided to do.
There. Let me go in and check. Oh, I'm sorry about that. They used to be on there. Let me go in and check and see if I can add them. Sorry about that. They used to be there. I guess they fell off, but.
Why are you apologizing for not having pronouns on your page? This is the quiet bullying that the Democratic Party, that the LGBTQ movement, not the LGBTQ people. I separate the people from the movement. Got to be clear on that. This is the bullying that the LGBTQ community has done, and all these DEI folk, whatever you work in, people just kind of just said, oh, okay, we'll put it on our page. We'll start pushing this. We'll have it on LinkedIn. We'll create it on our Instagram, the he, her, she, whatever. I remember the first time that I was I was on like a Zoom call. I don't even know what it was about. I know who I was on there with, but I think it was like a Zoom it was like some wellness type of thing. And we were introducing ourselves, and they said, everybody, say your, who you are, and then, say your pronouns. And it was to the point, this is kind of, maybe this is embarrassing. Shout out to public school education and William and Mary in Lawrenceville. But when they said pronouns, I had to look it up on my phone. Like, yo, what are they talking about? Like I had to refresh my memory. Like, hold on, what's a pronoun? Like, literally, I had to do that because just the context of the situation just threw me completely off. So I'm just sitting there, and they're like, yeah, you have, and most of the people were saying, the women were saying she, her, and then I may have heard like a couple they, them, but I did not know what they were even talking about. So it was a very awkward situation that I was in. And instead of me just saying like, David, like I'm a guy, like I was like, all right, the dude said he, him, like, And then I kind of probably was like, yeah, I'm him. Like, you know, that type of thing. Like, whatever. Why is she apologizing? That's what they do. This is what happened with George Floyd. Remember when George Floyd passed and they wrote Black Lives Matter in the streets, and then it turned from Black Lives Matter to, oh yeah, we're hijacking your movement. This is the LGBTQ thing. And if you didn't, and if the business owners didn't allow people to put that rainbow sticker on the window, then they were saying that they're gonna threaten to boycott it or put them on some list or something. They were making threats. This is the bullying that occurs, the quiet bullying that Democrats have allowed, and the reason why the Democratic Party has been completely taken over by the 1% of radicals that push this nonsense. Let's keep going.
I'll put them on right now.
So she put it up there. So she apologized and then put them up. Now look at this next video. Let's take a look at this next video. This is AOC a few days ago.
All right, well, it's time for another pop culture roundup. Fox News contributor Lisa Booth is here. Has apparently removed she, her pronouns from her ex profile. And she also asked this. She wanted to ask her people why you voted for her and Trump. Watch.
If you voted for Donald Trump and me, or if you voted for Donald Trump and voted Democratic down ballot, I would really love to hear from you. Just tell me what your thought process was.
All right. Well, people said, by the way, she has 21 million followers on just Instagram and Twitter combined. So that's amazing.
It's kind of a lot. That's kind of. Well, also, and if you remember 2 years ago, she put them up because her progressive followers were like, why don't you have pronouns in your bio? But look, I think the woke tide is over. Americans are tired of this pronoun nonsense, this transgender nonsense. If you look at the best ad that Donald Trump ran during the election cycle, it was Kamala Harris is for they, them. Donald Trump is for you. It was aired over 15,000 times during NFL games in swing states. People are tired of this nonsense.
It was effective. Listen,
a single person cannot be a plural.
Love her or hate her, she is a populist, which is why she got the Trump vote and the AOC vote in her district. And she is in touch with where the people are at. I actually am not going to criticize her. I think it's good for her to respond to what's happening in this trend. So,
well, since you're not going to allow me to, you don't go from apologizing for something. Hold on, let me hold on. Let's switch this up a little bit. In my opinion, you don't go from apologizing for something to not explaining why you're now taking it down. You tried to pull, they must have fell off, like it's something that falls off of a table or something like that. No, you took them down or you never put them up there. Just be honest. And this is why I can't stand a lot of these politicians. They're all phony. She comes across, I can't stand her. I'll be totally honest. She just bothers me. She's just like the phony, like, just, I don't know. She just tries to appeal to people in ways that are not appealing to me. So maybe that's why. But when you take down those pronouns, why not, just like you owed an apology to the people apparently that told you that you needed to put them up, why don't you break down to your 21 million people that follow you exactly why you took them down? Why don't you break it down to them and have a conversation with them and say why you think that it's detrimental? Because are you doing it just because you realized, that's not in no more. So that's not in right now. All right, so we're gonna go with what's cool. All right, so we're not doing pronouns no more. I bet. Because that is what I mean when I say Democrats and liberals don't stand on anything. They don't have any principles, any values, any morals that they stand on. The only thing that they do is critique the Republicans for the things that they stand on. They have no values. How do you just go from apologizing for not putting pronouns up to taking them down and not offering some type of explanation? If it's genuine, then say exactly why you took them down. Say, hey, I don't disagree. I disagree with it. I went along with it because I didn't want to offend anybody, but I think that it's actually harmful to the culture that we're creating. I'm moving in a different direction. Why don't you take a stand? This is why people look at politicians the way that they look at politicians. And people should not just allow this type of thing, because let's kind of back into it. Let me ask y'all this, because a lot of y'all may be sitting here saying like, it's just pronouns, no big deal. If it was no big deal, then why did she take them down? If it doesn't impact the culture, if it doesn't impact the people that she has an influence over, then why take it down? Why apologize for not having it up? Because she knows, just like the Democratic Party knows, that the things that they do, these agendas that they're pushing, have a huge impact on the culture that has been created in America. And thank the people of America for finally voicing their opinion and saying, like, nah, it's gone too far. We're not with all this. Keep the tampons out the boys' bathrooms. Keep the boys out of women's sports. Keep the drag queens out of the schools and whatever else weird stuff y'all got going on. Save it. Whatever you do with your personal life, that's your personal life. But stop trying to bully other people to accept the way that you want to live. Stop trying to bully other people into calling you something that or identifying an entire group of people that it's clearly you're a boy, and now you're getting mad at me because I don't identify you as a boy. When you whatever. I don't. Can y'all actually believe that we're having this conversation? Could you imagine 10 years ago having a conversation about a politician taking her pronouns up or leaving them down, or taking her pronouns down or leaving them up? That just goes to show you how extreme and how radical we've become. And I'm so glad she's very smart for this. So she's very slick, just like that's the second person. This just like with the Morning Joe, right? Now, apparently now just think about it like this. A lot of Democrats that probably follow her, and what was her group? I forget what was the group that she was, because AOC, let's be clear, she was already moving a little bit more moderate. What was that group that she was in? With her, Jamal Bowman, Corey, and Talib, or I'm forgetting the name. I forget the name of the group, the super progressive group that she was in. She was like the only one that didn't lose in the primary. She was the only one that AIPAC didn't put up big money against her in the primary like they did with Jamal Bowman and the lady Corey. She was the only one. And she had started to change her rhetoric. So she is exactly what Queez just said. She's a chameleon that will adapt, just like Morning Joe and Mika adapted, because they see the writing on the wall, and they've probably seen it for a very long time, but they realize, like, do I make a stand? Do I take a stand now, or do I wait for, things to die down a little bit and then just try to do it on the low? Watch these Democrats and watch these people that are on TV, and notice how just watch how they slowly transition their views and their thoughts over, because they know that they are out there by themselves. They're pushing something that they do not even believe in. Oh, shout out to my dad, the Squad. The Squad. That was the name of the Squad. Super liberal, super progressive. She was the only one that AIPAC didn't put up big money against to make sure that they weren't even going to win their primary. She was the only one. And it happened maybe like 3-4 months ago. We started to see, like, oh, she's taking a little bit of a different stance. Before, she was saying all this pro-Palestine stuff, criticizing. Now she's criticizing Israel, but now she started to move a little bit differently. So maybe she got a phone call from somebody and said, hey, if you keep this up, you'll be alone with your 21 million followers, and you will not be in that position that you're in right now on the trajectory that you could possibly be if you just play your role and just chill out. I really think that's what happened. Or maybe she's just smart enough to kind of see it, because it really doesn't take that much of an intelligent person to understand that the culture is moving. The Democrats that voted for I'm not going to say the Democrats that voted for all the woke stuff, because I think that the majority of Democrats that voted Democrat don't believe in all the woke stuff. They just excused it, or just said, well, Trump's worse, so I'll just vote for the woke stuff anyway. And a lot of the people that voted, I always talk to my parents about this, because when I talk to my parents about the whatever's called the woke stuff, and I hate saying the woke stuff because they hijacked that word. It used to be like, elevated consciously, a deeper understanding, and they just took it and turned it into like a LGBTQ mantra or whatever. So when a lot of these people that still voted Democrat, even though they don't agree with this stuff, a lot of them may be older. So therefore they don't understand, or it's not as, maybe it just doesn't hit them as hard. Like where they were, Social Security I didn't even really know what it was. I just having a conversation with my parents. I'm like, yo, break that down to me. Like, how does it? I never even thought about it. I don't think about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with drag queens in schools. My parents aren't having any more kids, obviously. If you're 50, 60 years, you don't really care about what's going on in the schools. You may have your grandkids, but you're not caring about it as much as if your kids are actually in school or if you're trying to have kids. You may not care about the drag queens in schools. You may not care about these books showing men getting pregnant. You may not care about boys playing against girls in sports. You may not care about these things. But what we're starting to see is that they pushed it too much, and the voters are showing them that they're not with it. So neither here nor there. Shout out to AOC, at least, for being smart enough to recognize it before a lot of other people recognize it. But pay attention to a lot of your favorite Democrats and just notice if they start to backpedal on a lot of the things that they were pushing. And that's what all this infighting is happening. I think Bill Clinton just came out, if I'm not mistaken, and said that he pretty much said, like, yeah, Democrats got to stop pushing this narrative that the economy's good when people can't afford to pay for this and that. And it's like, Bill, why didn't you say this before the election? You didn't even have to say it to us. You should have just said it to your people. You got enough weight, right? You got enough weight to where you can have some type of influence. I mean, you're not Barack in that party, but I think you could have said something. I mean, you just doing what Bernie did. You just coming out after the fact, after you lost. So I guess if you won, you wouldn't have said anything. But if you win, now you're coming out and saying it. So I don't know. We'll keep moving. All right. So what do we have next? We should have played that one for you. All right. So let's move on to Denzel. Matter of fact, before we get to Denzel, we'll move on to Denzel. That's where the energy was bringing me. So that's where we'll go. All right. So let's move on to Denzel. So I have two videos to show you guys from Denzel. The first one actually got 3 videos. Okay. So this video, this is the one that I was talking about from his movie Fences. So, and hold on before I go. Mark said, woke is a product of cultural Marxism, all anti-family. Yes. Against the family. No kids, no family structure, be single, don't have kids, have just, casual sex, and that should, and let the government control things. That's really, well, the country voted. So I guess we're moving more on a more traditional path. We're embracing now more the conservative values, and I'm sure there's going to be certain. It's not going to be all great, all positive. It's not going to be all perfect, but in my opinion, that's going to establish a culture that we actually need to get back to. It's going to at least get us back in the right direction. All right, so let's switch this up real quick. Let's get to this video that I was talking about. Listen to this interview answer by Denzel.
Can you talk about African-American men and how this movie speaks to them?
Pain is passed down from father to son and son to son. A lot of pain in Troy's life is a result of the pain and the damage from his father that he then visits on his son. We have to, as black men, be mindful of that. Sometimes it's unfair, and sometimes we take it out on those we love. And I'm guilty of that frustration that we all have. But we have a responsibility and a duty to be fathers, not to just make babies, but to be real fathers. And you can't expect any good to come to you if you don't visit any good on your son or your daughter. So be a man.
He finished it off with be a man. Yo, that was one of my favorite Denzel moments. That answer to that question right there. It still gives me chills. Do you see my arm? Hold on. I wish you could see the chills on my arm. It still gives me chills. Maybe you can't see it. Hold up. Now I gotta get closer. It still gives me chills. I remember hearing that, and what it did was it kind of opened up my perspective and forced me to, or allowed me to give grace to not only my dad, but my granddad and the fathers that came before me, because I was sitting there and I'm like, damn, like I have a way better life than what my dad has. You know, like then the things that he may have had to go through. Then I think about my grandfather working on a sharecropper. Like this is not, I know we like to think about slavery being generations and generations ago. Sharecropping was the same thing. You just got a little piece for yourself. Like that's just my grandfather. So when I'm thinking about it, when I think about my pop and the things that he had to go through when he's on his way to becoming a professional baseball player, you know what I'm saying? When I think about all these different things, it's like, damn, like that's what Denzel brought out of me. That's what Denzel brought out of me. So now with these next two videos, I just wanted to give a little context of why I am so disappointed in Denzel. And if it was anybody else, I would have used a stronger, or I would have probably went back to that word that I keep saying, disgusting. I would have used that more, but I'm just disappointed. Like, I'm just sad. I'm saddened by what Denzel did. Let's just take a look at it. Y'all probably sitting here like, well, damn, just show the video. Like, what did he do? All right, let's, Denzel.
Entire empire, or I actually kissed the man in the film, but they took it. They cut it. I think they got chicken.
I was going to ask because.
So you kissed a man, but they cut it out. Why would you say that? Now maybe he felt, and this is now that I'm just thinking about it in real time. Whatever made him make the decision to do the kiss, he made that decision. Then once he did it, I guess to get ahead of it, so other people wouldn't be saying it or come out, 6 months from now or 6 years from now or whatever, and him have to answer the questions, he probably just decided to address it head on. But why would you make the decision to do something like that, Denzel? You do not have to do that. And I don't want to excuse younger actors and actresses that compromise maybe their morals and integrity to get certain roles because, you're willing to do a little bit more. The same thing with sports. A rookie's willing to do whatever that a vet ain't. I ain't doing all that. It's just different. I'm not saying that one is that the rookie's right, or I'm not saying that the young actor and actress should compromise their morals. I'm not saying that. But it's just like, damn, like Denzel. You out of all people, the regard, like how we see Denzel. Denzel doesn't even do, you can't even think about a Denzel sex scene. I can't even recall Denzel kissing a woman while acting. And here we got him kissing a man, and it's not in the video, but what made you make that decision? Like, why did you feel that this role was that important? Or kissing a man was that important? Like, what about it? Like, I don't know what angle made you decide, like, okay, I'm going to kiss this man.
I just heard about the Paul and Pedro forehead kiss that apparently got cut.
And especially when we're living in the days and times of what the culture is right now. It's like, we have an issue where this stuff is getting pushed on our kids. It's getting jammed down. I don't even want to say that. It's getting forced on us, getting jammed down. It's getting forced on us. Like, why? Like, why?
From the movie.
I'm not sure about that one, but yeah, I kissed the guy full on the lips.
And then he doubles down.
I just heard about the Paul and Pedro forehead kiss that apparently got cut from the movie.
I'm not sure about that one, but yeah, I kissed the guy full on the lips, and I guess they weren't ready for that yet.
Oh man. Well,
I killed him about 5 minutes later, but
I mean, it's gladiator.
I'm not sure about that one, but yeah, I kissed the guy full on the lips, and I guess they weren't ready for that yet.
Oh man. Well, I hope.
All right, so one more video. So I believe Denzel got a lot of responses from this that he didn't like. A lot of people were just disappointed. And I think that if people got angry at Denzel, I think he wouldn't have cared. Like if people got angry and just started saying stuff like, man, calling them different names and stuff like that, I think it really bothered Denzel that people were just disappointed. It's like, damn, Denzel, like we held you in like you a god when it comes to I don't even want to say just the black community, but just people overall. Like you've always been seen as a stand-up brother. I believe you've been married feels like 50 years. You're probably only 60 something, so I don't know, maybe less than that. But it's just like, why? Like you've conducted yourself in a way for so long to where people can look at you. I don't, and it's not that kissing a man is not, a respectable thing, but it's just, Denzel, you're not gay. You understand what's going on in this world. Like, you don't need to compromise yourself. You do not have to do this. You played Malcolm X. Queez just wrote it. Yo, ask. All right, so my dad and mom don't typically comment. My dad just commented because I asked a question and I needed him for a lifeline. But do y'all know? So when it comes to Malcolm X, all right, hold on. Let me do this. Hold on. Let me just show. So my dad gave me a bunch of records. I'm gonna go off. This is not a big tangent. My dad just gave me a bunch of records, all his records. And if my brother's listening, it's both ours, but I'm just holding them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's both our Queens. What movie? It's kind of like it's both of ours, but we just leave it at my house. I'm gonna show you. Matter of fact, nah, I thought my assistant was here. Hold on. This is the record that's on the top of the record player. Hold on one second. This is on the top of the record player. I don't even know what this is. I thought it was so dope. I left it on there because I'm like, I gotta listen to this. I was born on Malcolm X's birthday. My dad raised me on Malcolm X. Like that, Malcolm X is one of my heroes, if not my biggest hero. And what was so dope about it, I didn't even get a chance to ask my dad, where I'm looking on the back of it, and my dad is like writing certain notes on it. And I thought that this was just so cool. Like, you just see, I don't even know if my dad remembers this. And because Malcolm X means that much to me, and I wasn't even going to go this way, but Queez just said you played Malcolm X. And the point that I was going to make is, I grew up thinking, like, when I was very young and Malcolm X first came out, in my mind, I swore that Denzel was Malcolm X. Like, I just thought, like, oh, that guy, that's Malcolm X. Like, it took me a little bit, and I was probably old enough to know that, like, if you thought about this for a second, he's just playing him. But that's who that's Malcolm X. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't differentiate between the two. So it's like, I just thought that Queen said me too. And it's just like, bro, like, it was just sad. And I think that based on Denzel's response when he's asked about it in this clip that I'm getting ready to play, I think he knows that he messed up. And I think that us being disappointed in him more than angry with him really resonated with him. And I don't know, but y'all tell me, you take a look at this. Hold on. Let me get the other video. Here we go. Hold on. All right, we're good.
So 25 years later, this movie makes
with his
a
wife.
big return. You are a part of it. Right. Why did you want to do it?
Because he asked me. I mean, it's Ridley Scott, it's Gladiator. Because he asked me, simple as that. Yeah. And a good script, very good script.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We see you do things in this movie we haven't seen you do in a little bit. Like, you're wonderful in everything that you do. You're wonderful in everything that you do.
You don't typically see Denzel uncomfortable. You don't typically see Denzel uncomfortable. When I was watching this, I noticed that he was uncomfortable. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I'm looking for it. Y'all tell me. Especially when the gentleman says what he said just before that. Hold on, listen.
Bit. Like, you're wonderful in everything that you do. You're wonderful in everything.
Hold on.
Because he asked me, simple as that. And a good script, very good script.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We see you do things in this movie we haven't seen you do in a little bit.
We've seen you do things in this movie we haven't seen you in a little bit. So obviously that's not in a little bit, but this is when he started to kind of wonder, in my opinion, like, is he about to ask me about this?
Like, you're wonderful in everything that you do. You're wonderful in everything that you do.
Thank you.
When they talk about Oscar buzz, at this point in your career, how do you process that?
Let's let it happen first. Well, the buzz is nice, but
This ain't Denzel. This
No, I
ain't
didn't want to
Denzel.
say what I was going to say. It had to do with buzz. Go ahead.
I'm looking forward to seeing you on Broadway. I love seeing you return to the stage. Playing
This is so awkward. Like, I feel uncomfortable watching this.
Othello in a role that you played when you were 22 at Fordham University.
That's correct. I think I know the part a little bit better now, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to rehearsal.
You love being on stage.
I love it. Yes.
That's where I feel like it's really the work is born.
That's the actor's medium. You know, film is a director's medium. Stage is an actor's medium.
Big headline about a certain scene, a kiss that was omitted from the movie. Why do you think they did that?
It wasn't even a big deal, really. I mean, I
It was Denzel. Oh, not Denzel. Not Denzel, man. Not Denzel. Yo, you know how I really feel right now? You know how I really feel? Have you ever seen that scene in Glory where Denzel's getting whipped? Have you ever seen that where he just standing there and the tears just start coming down? That's really how I feel. Like, why? This is gonna tarnish Denzel. Like, and it's not the fact, like, if you're gay, you're gay. That's not the issue. And I think I don't need to tell y'all that. The people that are listening, watching right now, I don't think, especially the people that watch all the time, I don't think I need to tell y'all that. However, for others that may be new or may see this video when it goes viral and when we all make it real big and stuff and they go back and look at the old content, I think it needs to be clear. Like, it's not about you being gay. We know you're not gay, Denzel. Like, you kissing a man on TV, it's not on brand. It's just not, it's not needed. I don't know if you thought that Kamala Harris was going to win the election and you thought that this would be a cool, I just don't know what made you make that decision. I mean, once you did it, it's like, all right, you had to, I guess, come out and just get ahead of it. Cool. But let's listen to his response. I'm looking at it. We're gonna watch it twice, matter of fact, because I'm gonna watch him first, and then I'm gonna watch his wife respond to it.
From the movie, why do you think they did that?
It wasn't even a big deal, really. I mean, I that's about what it was. You know, and I kissed him on the hands.
Thank you very much for responding. Nice to see you.
Now we'll watch his wife.
It wasn't even a big deal, really. I mean, I that's about what it was.
I don't know whether it was planned or she gets a little uncomfortable.
It wasn't even a big deal, really. I
Look,
mean,
right
that's about what it was.
So they may have had that plan. I don't know, but it's just. See, Queez said it, man. His white face. It's like, why you put me in this position, man? It's broke Black Mountain. Yo, Mark funny for that. It's just like, why do we have to allow people to just? I don't know. I got to sit with this one. Like, I got to sit with this one because I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. But what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? That's why we can't put all this faith in these celebrities, all this hope and thinking that they're gonna guide us somewhere. They're not. They're not. They're just not. Let's move on to Bronny. Damn. That one hurt, man. I can't even front. That one hurt. Let's move on to Bronny. Let's move on to Bronny. All right. Damn. Yo. Damn. Now I know how y'all felt when Kamala lost. All y'all Kamala supporters. Like, damn, I feel like I just took a hit. Like, All right, here we go. All right, let's talk about Bronny James. So for all those that are not familiar, Bronny James, obviously LeBron James' son. We've talked about this before. A lot of people, there was a lot of conversation around whether or not it was nepotism, whether or not they cared that it was nepotism. Bronny getting into the league. All those conversations are cool, but I think another conversation needs to be had at this point. And let's take a look at the video and we'll have the combo.
Well, yes, we were all more than aware that Bronny James didn't deserve to be anywhere near an NBA basketball court other than if he was, mopping up sweat when a player fell or fetching water during timeouts. But is it possible Bronny...
And I got to be very clear. I'm a Bronny fan. I like Bronny. I like Bronny James. I like Bronny. I'm rooting for Bronny more than LeBron right now, just being totally honest. However, and this is one of the problems that I'm going to detail, like LeBron causes this video. Look at the name of it. Bronny Saga hits a pathetic new low. People making fun of him. LeBron James caused all this. This is LeBron James's fault. Let's keep going.
Bronny is even worse than originally anticipated. Not only is it possible, it is an outright certainty at this point. Since Bronny has been relegated finally to the G League, we have learned that his scrub ass isn't even good enough to play there. But don't tell that to Pops. Remember,
and I'm not sure if y'all are also aware. Let me actually see when this video was put out. So this is a day ago. So they may actually talk about it. I don't even know if I went through this entire full video. But so what they're doing with Bronny is now he's playing. He's not traveling. So he's in the G League. Well, he plays for the G League team. So the G League is kind of their developmental team. It's not like it's like single A, double A, triple A baseball. It's like the minor leagues. That's their minor league team. But he's also on the bench at the Lakers games, the actual NBA games. Why? For marketing purposes. He may get in the game if the team's if they're blowing another team out, or maybe getting blown out, whatever. He'll get some minutes. But he's not playing the away games with the developmental team. So it's like he's not doing the road trips with them. So he's not going on the commercial flights. He's not staying in the Courtyard Marriotts. He's only going on the private planes. Like that's, I guess, what he's only good at. He's too good for the commercial. Everything that LeBron James is gifting his son, in my opinion, is detrimental to his son. LeBron James, in my opinion, is allowing his ego and insecurities to get in the way of his son actually developing on his own into what I believe he would become a great or a good basketball player. Don't necessarily need to say great. When you talk to people with a lot of money, what is the hardest thing that they have to do? To teach their kids lessons that they learned from not having money, but now they got to teach their kids those same lessons growing up in a privileged environment because their parents have money. Very hard to do. LeBron James is the parent that is saying, I don't care about my kids learning these lessons. I'm going to give them special treatment. Why? So that I can be regarded as being even greater. The first person to be on the same team with my son in the NBA, all these different things. And in my opinion, his ego and his insecurities are getting in the way of him allowing Bronny to develop. And Queez just said another good point. His teammates are going to resent him. His teammate, matter of fact, on the G League, his teammate on the G League, and let's be clear, when you're on that bench, you're taking away a spot from somebody who possibly deserves it more than you. And I'll give you, and Mark, we'll see you, brother. We'll see you on Friday. And when you take away that spot, I'll give you an example. The player on his team that actually plays guard. So on the G League team, the developmental team, they have another player on the team that plays guard. He's a guard, and he's averaging like 29 points a game. And I think they may actually get into this video. If they do, then whatever. But he's like the second leading scorer in the entire G League. He's on the G League team. From my understanding, he didn't get elevated to the NBA roster. Why would LeBron James do this? This is why people love Kobe the way that we love Kobe. because he's him. He's unapologetic. He doesn't give a damn what people think about him. He's just going to be the asshole that's going to outwork everybody and challenge you to get the most out of you, or else he's going to be in your face. Like, that's what Kobe Bryant represents. That's what we saw a lot of Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. But in my opinion, LeBron James, he's upset because people will never look at him, revere him the way that they revere Michael Jordan. Never. It doesn't even matter what he does. He knows there's nothing that he can do to be seen as, in the majority of people's eyes, as better than Michael Jordan. Even if they think he's better. Like, I think he's a better all-around player, but I don't think he's better. You get what I'm saying? There's two totally different things. I definitely don't think he's greater. But even if he is, I'm still taking Mike. I still look at Mike as Mike. Mike's greater. It is what it is. Just is what it is. And he will never be loved the way that Kobe is loved. Now, Kobe's passing obviously increased that and enhanced that. But even before Kobe passed, he's not getting, he's in Kobe's shadow on the Lakers. So this type of mindset, I don't know. And the worst part is, and people say, well, there's nepotism all over the place. You're hurting Bronny. Bronny should be in college right now, playing with the kids that are on his level. But instead, he's being used as a pawn by LeBron James to try to make people look at LeBron James in a different light. And LeBron James may not care the impact that it has now. LeBron James may be just thinking legacy-wise, well, 100 years from now, they just going to say that I played with my son. So who knows? Who knows? But let's keep going a little bit with the video.
That Bron last season said that Bronny was good enough to play in the NBA back then. Actually, scratch that. Not good enough to play, was better than several players. And for those of you who might have forgotten, here is the direct post. Quote, man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. Shit lightweight hilarious. Now, what's actually lightweight hilarious, though, is Bronny's NBA stat line at the moment of 0.7 of a point, 0.3 of an assist, and 0.2 of a rebound per game on 16% shooting from the field. And the plan, apparently moving forward, for whatever reason, like he's actually adding anything to the Lakers, was that Bronny would split time between the Lakers' G League affiliate in South Bay and the actual team his daddy is running, and holding a roster spot for Junior Open. We initially learned Bronny would be available for all of South Bay's home games only, and then be with the Lakers' active roster when South Bay was on the road. But it was LeBron's longtime confidant, Brian Windhorst, a guy who rode LeBron's coattails all the way from high school to the big leagues of ESPN, while, mind you, writing multiple books about him along the way, who ultimately stabbed the self-proclaimed king in the back. A2 Brute, with Windhorst reporting that the reason Bronny wasn't going to be available for the G League road games was because he refused to fly commercial airlines and travel with his teammates.
I don't know the extent of that. That seems a little bit over dramatized. I don't think that Bronny came out and said, I'm not going to be flying commercial. I don't even want to keep going with this video. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't even want to keep going with this video. I just want to make a couple points. I think that this is where we get caught up in the idolatry, where we idolize these people so much that we just excuse behavior, we excuse integrity, we excuse principles just to go along with our favorite basketball players, with our favorite actors, no different than Denzel. I don't understand why we're allowing this type of thing. But in my opinion, I just think that it's a very bad thing for Bronny. And I think that LeBron James is highlighting how dangerous insecurities are. I think LeBron James has been obviously one of the greatest athletes of all time. But in my opinion, he's always been insecure. He's always tried to look cool. I don't think that he ever just felt like, yo, I'm cool. I don't think he ever had that like Kobe had, or had it like MJ had, or had it like plenty of other players have had. I think LeBron James was always the awkward kid that was trying to fit in and trying to be seen as cool, not just the very good basketball player. And all those insecurities are showing up in how he's treating his son and how he's treating his son's situation. And I think that he's going to be very, very upset at himself. Eventually when when the ego dies down a bit and he realizes the harm that he's causing Bronny. So we'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. All right. So let me just a couple more things that I wanted to talk with y'all today about. All right. So I don't know. I said this to Maya maybe earlier today or yesterday. I don't know why certain things are showing up on my phone, certain alerts that I'm getting. And it's just like different things are being highlighted. I was going through the mail today. And on one, they sent me something. I don't know whether it was from it wasn't Alvin Ailey. It was another film house or something like that. And on the back of it, it's like a drag. And then another video, whatever. These videos of them trying to just find ways to emasculate men or just empower and tell women that they're perfect. They're just showing up. And maybe it's what we discussed earlier when you're seeing the world this way. So maybe I need to adjust my way of thinking because maybe my perspective is just inviting all of these things my way to where they're showing up in my face like, God, like, damn, like it's just, I can't get away from it. And in my opinion, it's impacting our culture. So let me get to the actual point. A church that I grew up going to in Montclair, New Jersey. I'm trying to figure out a way to tell the story. All right. So just a church I'm not even going to say it's my main church, but whatever. A church that I attended at some point. I found out that they're having a men's day. No, they didn't invite me to come. No, that's not why I'm salty. Trust me, it's not. I find out that not only are they having a men's day, but that they're deciding to take the men's day to celebrate women and have a woman speaker. Let me say that again. The church is having a men's day. So they decided to bring in a woman speaker and use the men's day as an opportunity to support women. Am I off in being highly offended by this? Am I off in seeing this as one of the reasons why straight men are not in the church? And I just got a text, so let me make sure nobody's telling me something. Like, yo, don't talk about it. This is the problem, and y'all tell me if I'm off on this. And I just watched a video earlier where they were talking about Atlanta churches, and they were calling out a bunch of these pastors that are, what do they call it? Like false prophets, preaching things that are against the word of the Bible, against the word of God. And they're allowing certain things. They're being lenient on certain things where the churches used to be very conservative, saying, hey, this isn't allowed in the church. This is not the word. So therefore we're not accepting it. A lot of churches are welcoming, whether it's welcoming like LGBTQ, whether welcoming whatever. I'm not religious. So I don't really care about those other things. The reason why I'm bringing them up is because it's like, damn, men can't have anything. Here we talk about all the time, we hear that women are the least protected, right? The least protected group of black women are the least protected group of people on the planet, species on the planet, whatever. We always hear that, right? Black men and black men in particular, and it's actually creeping into men overall, but black men in particular may be the least guided. So while black women are saying they're the least protected, black men may be the least guided. When you think about religion, what comes to mind? Structure, discipline, right? Integrity, right? All these different things. I'm structure and discipline, at least. You may not agree with the integrity aspect, but structure and discipline. To me, religion is a very masculine thing. These are the rules. Follow these rules. There's no excuses for breaking them. It's very simple and straightforward. Very masculine. When you think about these things being implemented into the household, What is lacking in the household? Structure, discipline, and integrity. What do men not grow up with, especially if they're being raised by their mama, their grandmother, whatever else, right? Because according to the Black Men's Summit that we showed y'all before with D.L. Hughley, we got our mamas, our grandmamas, our great-grandmamas that raised us, that got us to this point. So what about the other side of that? What about the other side of that? Now we're living in a world where we're expecting men to be men, right? We're expecting men to be leaders, to handle responsibilities, to be protectors, to be providers, all these things. But we're not teaching them how to be men. We're not teaching them how to be men. We're showing them that be vulnerable and respect and tell women that they're perfect. That's the way to be men. That's the way to be a man. Because you want to know, in my opinion, why? Because teaching a man how to be a man is not something that is going to get a lot of claps when it's shown as content for social media, when it's shown to the rest of the world. Because there's a lot of things that need to go in to raising a man and to teaching a man how to be a man that people may not look too kindly of. Like, people may not look at it and say, oh, that's such a pleasurable experience. Look at that. Because there's a lot of tough conversations and there's a lot of tough things that young boys may need to go through in order to learn those tough lessons for them to survive, for them to be successful in life, and for them to ultimately lead and provide and protect a family. But instead, look what we're given. It's a men's day. And you got the black church, especially, that's already, men don't even feel like going there. There's no point in men going there. There's nothing at all attractive at all about me going to a black church. Christianity, yeah, there's certain things that I look at religion, whether it's Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Christianity, the Baha'i faith. There's a lot of different things that I take away from religions that I'm like, yo, that's I can get with that. That's relatable. But actually going to the black church, I have no desire whatsoever. No desire whatsoever. And it's for reasons like this. You can't even have a men's day that focuses on the development of men. Here you have the least developed group of people on the planet. The least developed species on the planet may be Black Americans, men, Black American men. They're not raised by a father. Right? Father may not be in the household, likely, right? That's what the stats say, right? So they're not raised by a man, right? They go to school. They don't have a lot of male teachers. They turn to the streets because they feel like, oh, I don't have anything. You know, I miss my father. I miss the family, the camaraderie. I miss all these things. So therefore, I turn to something that may not be what's best for me. I may turn to a gang. I may turn to these other things if I don't have sports. Hopefully the kids got some sports, but if not, what do they turn to? How does a young boy learn how to be a man? And then look at all the other influences that they have. Look what they're scrolling through every day. Look at what they're watching on TV all day. Who's teaching them how to be men? And then so you have the group that has the least amount of guidance, the least amount of developmental help. And you decide to say, oh, we're going to bring in a woman to speak to them on Men's Day. This is why Donald Trump won the presidency. And this is why we've talked about it for the last, couple months, why culture moves everything. And why culture, for me, just talking about me, was the main reason why I voted for who I voted for, Donald J. Trump. Culture. It was culture and RFK Jr. Maybe RFK Jr. first, but RFK Jr. stuff was very cultural based, and we're actually going to get ready to have a conversation about that, transition into that. But when you look at the culture that we're living in and the culture that is being pushed on us, in my opinion, especially when it comes to raising our young men, the other men have to do a very good job of standing on principles and stop allowing these groups to compromise. and this is this is what bothers me so much about it. Men know exactly how hard it is to be a man. Men know that. So for you to know that, and then to allow something like this to happen at a church where you got a men's day and your focus is on bringing a woman speaker and focusing on how we should uplift and empower black women, that's a problem. That's a problem. And then we sit back and wonder why we're in the position that we're in today with no leaders, with kids that can't read, with kids that have no discipline, with kids that have no leadership. None of these things. We sit back and wonder because we're failing the next generation of leaders. That's just my opinion. All right, so let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. So I have I was just taking a couple notes on this one. I was just taking a couple notes, and like as I was driving, I was in the Uber in my Lyft yesterday, and I was heading from LaGuardia coming back to Hackensack, and in the car I was just thinking, and I was listening to a podcast, and I was thinking, I was like, yo, I think it was Vinny from Valuetainment, and he started talking about RFK Jr. and why he was excited that RFK Jr. was in office, and he was getting a lot of pushback from whoever he was talking to. And he went down a list, and I should have just played the clip, but I just really wanted to just have the convo with y'all. And I actually, when I was writing this list, I forgot about where I heard it from. This is the current state of our country. We are in a health crisis. As much as this migrant crisis is an issue, huge issue for all the reasons that we've talked about on this show for the last few months or whatever, longer, huge issue. But we've had a health crisis in our country for a very long time, When you look at the fact of, I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they were telling me that, you know, why are we living? Why did our grandparents live longer than us? Like, why? My grandfather ate pork every day, twice a day. Like, why is he? You get what I'm saying? We got people eating veggies and whatever. We not only have an actual physical health crisis, we have a mental health crisis. We have an obesity epidemic. We have a disease epidemic. We're getting sicker than our grandparents. Why is autism so high? Autism used to be like 1 in every 10,000 kids. Now it's like 1 in 20? And I'm just estimating the numbers. Why do we have all these vaccines? Why do we have all of these things in play? And another thing that I wanted to highlight is, in 1986, I want to do some research on the vaccines, but 1986, they pretty much came out with this law that gives immunity for vaccines. So for all these companies like Pfizer, Moderna, all these companies that create these vaccines, they have immunity. So they can pretty much give you whatever. You get sick. Something happens to you. So now they have the green light to sell a product that they don't even have to do the due diligence. And now we understand why when RFK Jr. was pushing Fauci to say, hey, where's the research on these things? Now we understand why they have no research. Why would I waste money doing research on something that I have immunity for? I don't care about y'all. I'm trying to put money in my pocket. So we have a health crisis, mental, physical, spiritual. You know, if you look at the spiritual aspect of things, do you think that we're healthy? How we see each other, how we treat each other, the toxicity that was just shown in this election. So we are unhealthy, mind, body, soul, right? In every aspect of our lives, we're unhealthy. But our biggest thing is to criticize RFK Jr. rather than to criticize the people that are actually in the positions and have been in those positions for however long. And we don't even call those people out, but we'll question RFK Jr. We'll allow people to convince us that he's a loony. He's all these different things. He's got a brain worm, whatever they say about him. This is the position that we're in. And shame on us. Shame on us for not looking at these type of numbers, for not looking at these statistics. Everybody, when the pandemic came out, A lot of people, especially a lot of the blackity blacks, they jumped out the window saying, this is could have hurt the black population more than maybe it was true. But I remember putting together a health program for Mount Vernon. So if you know about Mount Vernon has the highest percentage of black people, I think, in any city north of the Mason-Dixon line, I believe. Mount Vernon, New York, in Westchester. Do you know that the people in their town, compared to the town right next to them, I think New Rochelle, they die 5 years younger? It was like, when I looked at the numbers, I think it was around 5 years. They have 5 years taken off their life by living a mile over. Why? Why are we allowing these things to be in our communities? Why don't we speak up? Why do we not take our health into our own hands? Nothing annoys me more than when I'm on a family group chat and they're talking about God this, God bless, Jesus, all praise to no. Take some responsibility into your own hands. You're in terrible shape. You're unhealthy. Stop blaming Jesus. Stop putting everything on Jesus. Jesus gave us the ability to do all these things ourselves, to take our health into our own hands. Like, damn, y'all just want to put everything on Jesus. You can't even walk down the street. You can't even walk up the stairs. You can't even take any initiative on your own to actually take care of your health. But instead, oh, Jesus is this, Jesus. It's so like, and maybe this is why I'm turned off by the black church, why I'm turned off by most people that push religion so hard, because you could be religious and not push it. Matter of fact, most of the people that push religion, they're the people that are not, like, when you look at their lives, it's like, that doesn't seem very godly to me. That doesn't seem like, because when you're living a particular life, I'll give you an example. When I was studying, when I was reading the Torah, and I was reading this real good book that a rabbi gave me, and I'm reading it, and I'm learning about the Jewish culture. And the things that I'm learning in the book, I actually see Jewish friends in my life implementing. So for me, I'm like, damn, like, I see the book, I see the lessons, they actually live in it. But then when I'm looking at, I don't want to just focus on my family, but then when you look at other communities, it's like the same people that are pushing this thing on me, they're not living this way. They're not taking any responsibility and accountability for how their lives go. They're just using the religion to kind of fall back and say, oh, it's in God's hands. It's in this, it's in that. And I'm talking about specifically when it comes to achieving your goals, when it comes to prioritizing your health, when it comes to setting certain goals and achieving them. Did I just repeat that? Maybe I did. When it comes to the things that are in our control, but that we pass off along to, that's Jesus. Well, I gotta wait. That's in God's time. No, it's on my time. It's on my time. And that's how God would want me to see it, in my opinion. I don't see things as if, whatever God wrote. No, I write my own script. I'm writing my own movie with my actions. God gave me the ability and free will to do so. So it's not just, oh, my life is terrible because God wanted my life to be terrible. No, your life is terrible because you allow it to be terrible. So I'll just leave it there. I just get very, the health, there is no excuse for having poor health. There is no excuse for having poor health. No excuse. It's laziness. It's, to me, you're disrespecting, like you ever seen like a player that had all the talent and they just won't even work hard. They won't even try. Like, here, God gave us all this capability and we're just wasting it. We're just wasting it. And it's the people that are wasting it that are calling his name the most, saying, like, speaking highly about him. God's probably sitting there like, damn, like why are you the one advertising me? Like, you making me look bad, just advertising. Like I got a sales team it's like a super unhealthy sales team trying to sell health packages. You get what I'm saying? It's like a contradiction. It doesn't do anything good for the. Let me stall him out a little bit. Because I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent. So let me finish off because I think this. All right, so this is going to be the most important part of this show. I was going to move on to the Pierce Morgan White Guys for Kamala, but I have this reading for you. So everything that I said on the show up until now, forget about it. This is the most important thing. I want to read a page and a half from this book. So How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm reading it again. As you can see, I've already highlighted. I think I've already gone through the book twice, but I'm reading it again, and it's like the first time again. Or I'm saying like, damn, I didn't even get this lesson. And there was something in here about Abraham Lincoln and how he was able to be such an amazing leader. And I don't think that we need to be presidents or we need to be in a certain position to be a leader. I think that everybody can lead. Everybody's in a leadership position because everybody's influential in their own ways. And if you're influencing other people, then you're leading them in certain ways. So I want to share this reading with y'all, and hopefully it can give us the right mindset to give others grace, not only in whatever we may be dealing with right now, politically or anything else, or me screaming at my family or whatever, what I'm talking about. I think it's very important. So let me read this. What was the secret of Lincoln's success in dealing with people? Hold on. Let me read the chapter before, or the sentence before. As Lincoln lay dying, Secretary of War Edwin Stanton said, "There lies the most perfect ruler of men that the world has ever seen." What was the secret of Lincoln's success in dealing with people? I studied the life of Abraham Lincoln for 10 years and devoted all of 3 years to writing and rewriting a book entitled Lincoln the Unknown. I believe I've made as detailed and exhaustive a study of Lincoln's personality and home life as it is possible for any being to make. I made a special study of Lincoln's method of dealing with people. Did he indulge in criticism? Oh, yes. As a young man in Pigeon Creek Valley of Indiana, he not only criticized, but he wrote letters and poems ridiculing people and dropped these letters on the country roads where they were sure to be found. Petty. That's 50 Cent level of petty. Even after Lincoln had become a practicing lawyer in Springfield, Illinois, he attacked his opponents openly in letters published in the newspapers. But he did this just once too often. In the autumn of 1842, he ridiculed a vain, pugnacious politician by the name of James Shields. Lincoln lampooned him through an anonymous letter published in the Springfield Journal. The town roared with laughter. Shields sent, this dude really like 50. Shields, sensitive and proud, boiled with indignation. He found out who wrote the letter, leaped on his horse, started after Lincoln, and challenged him to fight a duel. Different times. Lincoln did not want to fight. He was opposed to dueling, but he couldn't get out of it and save his honor. So a duel for y'all is like, yo, we're going to fight to the death. You choose your weapon. He was given the choice of weapons. Since he had very long arms, he chose cavalry broadswords and took lessons in sword fighting from a West Point graduate. On the appointed day, he and Shields met on a sandbar in the Mississippi River, prepared to fight to the death. But at the last minute, their seconds interrupted and stopped the duel. That was the most lurid personal incident in Lincoln's life. It taught him an invaluable lesson in the art of dealing with people. Never again did he write an insulting letter. Never again did he ridicule anyone. And from that time on, he almost never criticized anybody for anything. I told y'all I need to embrace this more. Time after time during the Civil War, Lincoln put a new general at the head of the Army of the Potomac. And each one in turn, McClellan, Pope, Burnside, Hooker, Meade, blundered tragically and drove Lincoln to pacing the floor in despair. Half the nation savagely condemned these incompetent generals, but Lincoln, with malice towards none, with charity for all, held his peace. One of his favorite quotations was, "Judge not, that ye not be judged." And when Mrs. Lincoln and others spoke harshly of the Southern people, Lincoln replied, "Don't criticize them. They are just what we would be under similar circumstances." I want to say that again. Don't criticize them. They are just what we would be under similar circumstances. I think we all can take those words and take that quote and absorb them. And I think it'll allow us to give people maybe a little bit more grace. That word keeps coming up. And just just not be so harsh on everybody, whether that's politically at Thanksgiving next week, Family Day, whatever you call it, whether that's going back and forth with somebody at work, maybe from a political standpoint. Obviously, politics is the big thing right now. Whether that's me looking down on people who aren't taking care of their health, all these things, whatever it is. There's a lot of stuff that I'm sure I need to work on. Matter of fact, the way that I said it was a little elitist. Let me rephrase that. I'm sure that there's something that I can work on. I know I'm perfect, but no, there are a lot of things that I need to work on and that I'm actively working on. And that quote, I'm going to use it to become more stoic, to become a better leader, and to remind myself, and maybe y'all can remind me on this show, that when I'm criticizing somebody, let me make sure that I'm criticizing, like they used to say in sports, don't criticize the player, criticize the play. Like, criticize how they're playing. Like, don't criticize the person, criticize the action, take it away from, don't personalize certain things, because people remember criticisms. And in my opinion, it rarely changes people. Criticisms rarely change people. And in that book, they even talked about, they did studies on animals where the animals responded more favorably to being rewarded for good behavior rather than getting punished for bad behavior. And I think that maybe now more than ever, especially maybe how a lot of us acted during this presidential campaign or presidential race, we are a lot like the animals. So I'm sure that we work the same way, and we're going to win a lot. What is it? You catch more bees with honey. Yeah. So whatever that quote is. Matter of fact, isn't that the first? I think that's the name of the chapter of the book, actually. Let me hold on. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. So a little bit different. But that's just kind of the last takeaway that I wanted to share with y'all. Even not even just criticizing people in our personal lives, but how I'm criticizing AOC. Let me fall back a little bit. Let me just give a little bit more grace, because like Lincoln said, I'm probably not going to quote it word for word, but they are just where they are just where they are. Let me get to the exact quote. Let me get to the quote so y'all can hear it. Let me just give it to y'all so you can hear it one more time. Hold on. I just moved the page. Hold on. Give me a second. Y'all ain't got nothing going on. We are all like that. Oh, don't criticize them. They are just what we would be under similar circumstances. We all got different circumstances. We all going through our own thing. So give a little grace. And with that, let's get into our 45 seconds to get y'all out of here. 45 seconds. Close your eyes. Get some visualization. Manifest. Clear your mind. Get your breath work. Inhale positive. Exhale all the negative. Whatever you need. Whatever you need to make sure that you're getting a good night's rest, to do what we set out every week to do, to make this the most amazing week ever. So 45 seconds. Let's go. Two more deep breaths. Inhaling positive energy, exhaling all the BS. One more. Y'all know what it is. Onward and upward, strength and honor. Y'all know we here to do. Elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint, as well as challenging ourselves to raise our standards, to become the leaders we need to become, and to accomplish the things that we set out to accomplish. And on that note, make sure that you're collecting the things in your bag that align with your purpose throughout the week. That's what we say. We get into the bag. So what's in my bag? Peace, love, happiness, and of course, health, wealth, and in everything we do, integrity. Did I say peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and integrity? Yeah. So, Appreciate that, Uncle Brother. Appreciate that. Yeah. This good show. My apologies if the energy was a little bit low. Friday, sometimes at night and just life, right? Life. But appreciate, my dad reminded me, please like on your way out. It's gonna help boost the algorithm. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all, man. We love y'all seriously, because this is love that y'all show by just tuning in all the time. Even Uncle Brother, think about that. Got here late, still showed up, man. That's thank you. On that note, I'll see y'all soon. Gang. Uncle Brother sent the gang. We'll hold on. Let me send the fire emojis for Queez. I don't even know how to send the emojis on here. Oh well. Y'all know Queez is always here in spirit, even if he ain't here in the physical. So I'll see y'all soon. Ew.